Hey guys, DJParson here, and we have another match of the International Championship. You already saw one game, you saw a 3-player game, and now we're back for more with a 4-player game versus Dirkulus, Shadow Knight, DJParson, that's me, and Boss once again. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the leaders and wonders. We see the following. Cleopatra has been taken, Acropolis, Pyramids, Shishka, Bach. I mean, I always find it pretty hard in 4-player games. I mean, there's a lot of leaders and wonders. No Pierre though, no Marlene. We have Bach, Shakespeare, Napoleon. Napoleon can be quite strong in 4-player games. James Cook and the Suez. So do we have an H1 colony leader? Not really, no. Okay, but Suez and James Cook is a combo. Alright, let's get this game going. Dirkulus, as we have seen, has taken Cleopatra. Then Shadow Knight takes the Urban Growth. And then my choice goes for the Rich Land and a Stonehenge. So Acropolis wasn't really an option here, because if I take Acropolis, I can't take another card. So 2 wonders on the first row means I should probably take one of them, and then I get the Rich Land here as well. And then for the last player, we have Boss, who takes the Hanging Gardens and the Rich Land. So he also gets a wonder and the Rich Land. Alright. So we start into H1. Dirkulus will elect Cleopatra, will build a lab. Does he take Acropolis? Engineering Genius and no HA Wonder. I mean, he could speculate on still getting the pyramids next turn. I think the chances are pretty high, so he's probably going to get that next turn if he wants to. Shadow Knight builds a mine, goes for Hammurabi here, and then elects to decide to increase population with that Hammurabi extra civil action. So not a bad start for Shadow Knight, Hammurabi, and Roman Roads, 2 very solid leaders. Also very solid cards, the leader and the wonder. I still need a leader, so I go for Alex. I elect him. And I built that mine for 1 rock less thanks to the Rich Land, Tactic, and Inhabit Territory. So with, as we have said, with the Suez there, and not a lot of colony leaders, the cartography could be very important. In 4-player games, there's always going to be a couple of territories, especially if I now start with one. Obviously, we don't know when the cartography will come out, and in 4-player games, it's hard to concentrate on a single card. You would have to grab it for 2 or 3 maybe, and depending on when it comes out. Boss here goes for Caesar and also that mine, as well as increasing population. So me and him in the last positions, going for a little bit of military leaders. Dirkulus now will go for the pyramids. Thanks to the Engineering Genius, he can use the extra rocks from Cleo. So yeah, really well executed first couple of turns by Dirkulus, I think. Taking the Engineering Genius because he speculated on getting the pyramids, and now being able to go for that mine and the first step thanks to that Engineering Genius, and next turn finishing the pyramids. So yeah, very solid. Shadow Knight will go for iron and irrigation, both for 2 civil actions, so a little bit costly, but with the Hammurabi has extra civil actions. Roman roads of course cost more as well. I decided to use Alex this turn and grab the Code of Laws. I mean, Code of Laws is really good with the Stonehenge. You want an early tech. Code of Laws is probably the best one to get with the early Stonehenge, so it's definitely worth 2 civil actions. Development of Religion, the first development that we get here. Boss is able to use it. Yeah, and then I can use it. Shadow Knight can't use it. Dirkulus also can't, so only me and Boss will be able to get that free religion. Then Boss will increase pop. He has built a stage of the Hanging Gardens and takes a breakthrough. He still hasn't got his second lab, so he's missing a little bit of science production. Dirkulus now will finish the pyramids, grab Saladin. Yeah, I would have really liked to get Saladin. I don't have a leader anymore, so if I had been able to get Saladin, that would have been awesome, but Dirkulus will take him away and takes a drama now with a lot of civil actions from him with the pyramids, and Saladin is up to 6 civil actions. Now Shadow Knight increases population, starts building on the Roman roads, grabs the rich land. And the code, I mean, he's, yeah, maybe in the code next turn. I mean, all of these are great cards, Iron, Irrigation, and the code. But he has to be careful with his civil actions. Sure, he does have Hammurabi, but with the Roman roads, 1 extra civil action has to be spent there. So he still has a lot of things to do now. So maybe I would have preferred it if he didn't go for Code of Laws, but just used the civil actions this turn to build 2 extra stages of the Roman roads. But I mean, it could still just next turn go for Code of Laws, finish the Roman roads. We might get extra signs from the developments. There are a lot of those left. So going for Code of Laws before the Iron and Irrigation also is definitely a good possibility for him. I will get the next development, and it's the one of Warfare. Sadly, I already want to take the Free Religion, so I can't take the Free Warrior as well. So taking a look here, Shadow Knight can take the Free Warrior, Hercules can't, once again, and Boars can take it as well. So Boars getting the best of these early developments. I will then build a couple of stages of the Stonehenge, get the extra science. That makes me able to go for the Code of Laws here, which is great. I grab Knights, I do have a tactic for them, and a Patriotism. Could mean a little bit of early military play. I mean, we have the extra happy phase from Stonehenge, so I could easily go for an army, maybe put on a little bit of pressure. But I'm still searching for a new leader, but at least the extra, first we get the open borders between me and Boars. Yeah, sure, I will take that. That has a little bit of extra risk with Caesar, but I'm not really too worried about that with having the Knights and the Patriotism in hand. Development of markets. Alright, Boars will then take the Free Warrior. Will take Genghis Khan. Okay. Elects him. Does he have a tactic? Builds that lab finally. And no tactic yet, but he will get 3 extra culture from Genghis Khan. Another pact offered 2 Boars, but he won't take it. Yeah, the Naval Trade Agreement, you often see that not been taken. Hercules would have wanted the extra 2 blue tokens, but Boars said no. Now Hercules will take the Forbidden City, so an extra civil action. He's looking at a lot of civil actions early on. Can increase population twice. Start building on the Forbidden City, so next turn he will be able to finish that. Gives him a lot of extra population, or free up his population, and then a lot of civil actions. Shadow Knight finally finishing the Roman roads. Does go for the Code of Laws as well. Takes a Theocracy, interesting. I mean, yeah, I think I like that Theocracy. He could just do a revolution next turn while he still has Hammurabi. That makes the revolutions pretty good, and then he will accumulate a little bit of science, and then afterwards maybe can go for irrigation or iron. No, definitely an interesting choice to go for the Theocracy, which could definitely work out for him. We get the next development, the one of planning. Let's take a quick look what we get there. We have craft, science, and politics. I take the science, so even more science for me. I take Zizka here. Finish the Stonehenge. Increase population, so don't elect Zizka yet, but I am ready to go for a lot of military. I would just need 2 knights and 1 more warrior, and then I would have the tactic twice, thanks to Zizka. Or maybe even extra farm instead of the warrior. Yeah, so that's looking good. The cartography has come out here as well. Let's see if we can take it with my big science stash with 10 science in the bank. I would like that, especially with the vast territory in hand as well. I'm not sure. I always forget which cards I put in, if I put in the inhabited territory already. But yeah, we will see if the cartography will be an option for us. First we get the development of civil life. Boars will finish the Hanging Gardens. Increase population. Gets another warrior. Does he have attack now? Yes, he does have the heavy cavalry now. So 7 strength for him. We still have that open borders agreement with him. So we have to be careful. But with Zizka, knights, and tactics, as well as with the patriotism in hand, I'm not really worried, but we definitely need to go for military next turn. But that's basically true for everybody. I don't think they can just stay on 1 strength. Let's see how they will respond. First, Hercules tries the trade agreement once again, and this time he would want the extra colonization, gives me the extra blue cubes, which I happily take. This really doesn't have a big downside for me, only that Hercules has +1 colonization, but in a 4-player game, I mean, it's not that important, and we get 2 extra blue cubes. It helps a lot, especially since we are not on iron, so we have a lot of blue cubes on the board. So I really like the pact in that order. Hercules will take away the cartography, so it looks like he wants to go for colonies. He has the +1 already, goes for monarchy. This is insane. He has 8 civil actions in the, yeah, even middle of H1. Not even the end of H1, middle of H1. I think it's not possible to have more at this stage. He got both the oneness with civil actions, has the leader with civil actions, and the government with 5. So yeah, pretty impressive civil action count for him. Takes irrigation and cultural heritage. Yeah, I like that. Cultural heritage is a great tech for him. He will just go for the extra strength from Saladin, so actually not on 8, only 7 civil actions now. But that probably makes it safe, especially with that extra MA from the monarchy. Shadow Knight indeed will go for the theocracy, builds a mine to get out of corruption, so he fixes military as well. Now let's see, I probably won't play the vast territory anymore. If I play anything at all, it's gonna be the good harvest, and we get settlement. So this gives me extra population. Let's see what I do with that. Zizka, knights, 1 knight, patriotism, increase pop, another knight, and a farm. So yeah, we get the tactic, the phalanx, if we play it now 2 times. So 11 strength, 2 extra culture production from Zizka. And the extra farm gives more food combined with the good harvest that I just played. That is, I like that play. And getting the strongest here, putting more pressure on Shadow Knight and Hercules feels good as well. I mean, my production isn't really the best, but now with this military forcing the others into some awkward spots maybe as well. I get an engineering genius. So overall, I would say the whole game is pretty balanced. Every player has something going for them. And I definitely don't feel like I'm behind. My only problem is that I don't have any upgraded production yet. But there's 2 more iron and 2 alchemies in the deck. And I have extra food. So it's okay, I guess. Boss will go for swordsman. Develops them. Upgrades 1, 2, and 3. Goes up to 10 strength. And grabs an urban growth. So I stay stronger. If he has played a couple of strength events, I would win them now. Let's see if anybody else will play politics now. Hercules won't. He grabs a warfare for 3. Okay, that's expensive. Like, I maybe would have preferred for him to go for cartography. On the other hand, I don't know if he has played any colonies. And remember, he has so many civil actions, so maybe he only grabbed the cartography because he could and didn't really plan to go for that anyway. Goes an extra warrior, so he's going up to 7 or even 1 more warrior. Grabs swordsman, 7 strength for him. Alchemy, so yeah, he's definitely afraid of an aggression. Will take the strength again. Like this, he's able to defend. So yeah, my military pressure definitely applying to him and forcing him to go for military. Shadow Knight goes to Nostradamus, that also helps him to defend. Goes for Knight 2. Builds another warrior, builds another lab, grabs a rich land and upgrades 1 more farm. So he has a lot of food. He's also looking at everybody. I'm looking at every civilization. Everybody has something going for them. So a pretty even early game, I would say. No one is crumbling under the military pressure. Everybody has a little bit of production extra. We get the new deposits now, so pretty equal here as well. No one has really upgraded his rock production by a lot. Then I grab the Universitas and can finish it this turn immediately thanks to the engineering genius. So now I have upgraded my science production. I still have okay food production, so the only thing I'm missing now is rocks. There's still 2 iron, so I could get 1 and then upgrade those in the next turns. But 12 science in the bank is pretty healthy, and I'm still the strongest. Boss will push. We get cultural influence. That's also good for me with 5 culture production already. Boss takes 1 of the iron copies. He'll upgrade 1. Can't upgrade more, but he could. Yeah, he will build another swordsman, so he's now the strongest once again. Let's see how Dirkulus will start this age 2. We will push. We get Dark Ages. Ooh, that hurts. 4 signs lost for me. At least I have good protection, so I will make it back. It's not like I had saved all of this up and not a good protection, so it definitely still hurts. But yeah, I will get more soon, hopefully. Dirkulus will upgrade alchemies now. 2 of them can increase pop to get out of corruption. Takes a breakthrough as well. Yeah, so he has good science protection as well. He's looking still very... Maybe he is looking the best now with the science protection rocks. I mean, he has elected to go for the 4th mine. He has the option thanks to the Forbidden City mostly, because he has basically 2 happy faces from his wonders. So he's definitely looking strong. Shadow Knight now will push. We get Raiders, so him and Dirkulus will lose. So at least now the 2 players who are weaker will get punished a little bit. Shadow Knight will grab that Machu Picchu. Builds Religion. Starts building on the Machu Picchu. There's only 1 copy of iron left. Oh, he has 1 in his hand already. Didn't see that. So he's ready for the Machu. Good Harvest comes out now. 5 food for Shadow Knight. 3 for me at least. That's definitely good. Means I get another population next turn. Thankfully, I have the Pact, I have the Naval Trade Agreement, so even if I just leave it at that, those 2 extra blue cubes definitely help me quite a lot with that corruption. I do go for the iron though, and I may upgrade 1, so then the blue cubes don't matter, but it's nice to have the option to just let it sit there. But yeah, now I have my rocks, I have the science. I have a tactic, that's a great first card draw. We don't have swordsman, but there are 2 copies of rifleman, of course, so we will be looking for those. Border conflict, sadly I'm not the strongest boss, so him going for the extra warrior is paying off now. Dirkulus the weakest, so he will lose something, which I am a big fan of. He's looking like his best early game right now, so him getting punished with the raiders and the border conflict is definitely healthy for the whole situation of everybody besides him, basically. Boss will take the Magic Castle, upgrades 1 more iron, so he can next turn finish that. He still has the alchemy, so next turn he could also just go for that first. Yeah, still also looking good. Dirkulus pushes, we get Call to Arms. Okay, that's 3 bad events in a row for Dirkulus. Call to Arms now means he's losing 2 civil actions, but he has enough of them, so it's not really that big of a deal for him. He will go up to 10 strength now, goes for Bach, okay, Masonry, and what else? Urban Growth. So Bach already has the drama in hand, so he has an easy culture production. Probably wants to go for the irrigation then to get more population. First Shadow Knight, who is not pushing, even though he's not the weakest, and with Nostradamus you usually want to push, but he decided against it. Will finish the Machu Picchu now. 9 science in the bank, rich land in his hand. So next turn he really has to go for the iron to get the full effect of the Machu, but he's ready for that. Knowledge of the Ancients, 3 extra science for me, so I have a lot of science, sadly 1 missing for the Republic. If I had 1 more science I definitely would have gone for the Republic here, maybe even combo it with Napoleon. Let's see what I decide to do here. Riflemen are also really important, sure. I do go for Napoleon. With the tactic and rifleman, this seems like a good idea to me. There would have been alternatives. I think I could have grabbed the Republic instead. But, I mean, there's still 1 more Republic and 2 Conmons. Conmon would be a lot better for me, especially if I want to go for military. So I don't think I'm in a rush for the Republic immediately, because I couldn't go for it this turn. Boss now pushes as well. We get the Pestilence. Okay, so I will just lose a free population, and with the Frugality I have more to come. So that's okay for me, at least I don't have to destroy anything. Boss will go for Scientific Method. Grades 1 and another one. Yeah, food, rocks. Food is the only thing he's really missing. Okay, and a government form. So, I mean, with these two scientific methods, it's become a lot easier for him to upgrade his science, upgrade his civil and military actions. Like, just needs Conmon. That's a pretty easy fix if he gets the card. And then he just needs food. So he's definitely looking really strong. With early in H2, you already have two scientific methods. Makes for a great H2 and 3 probably with that much science. Ooh, and this hurts. This hurts those rats. Hercules not losing anything. Shadow Knight losing 7, but me losing 5 is probably even worse for me than for Shadow Knight. So I'm only producing +1 each turn. Shadow Knight is at +5, so he can easily afford losing a little bit of food. But for me this really sucks, means Frugality will take a long time to come online. So I really wish I could have increased population 2 times next turn, but like this won't be happening. Hercules now goes for coal. He could go for 1. Yeah, he will develop it, upgrade 1. His hand is pretty full. He can take the wave, and the reason, I guess it's not that full. He has so many civil actions. He will also go for Bach, develop the drama, and can then even take Frugality. Yeah. He has a lot of cards in hand, but with this many civil actions, his hand is still... I mean, now it's full, but before it wasn't. He could take a lot of these yellow cards. Shadow Knight goes for Maria. Sure, he has 5 food production, so that combination works. He probably would have wished to keep the 7 food now to make something more out of the Maria right now, but I still think it's a great thing for him. He doesn't have the most rocks, but a lot of food and population, so Maria is really great for that, especially because he's the weakest at the moment and can use Maria's 3 rocks a turn quite nicely. Now I will push again. We get the scientific breakthrough, so a lot of science made back. Overall, pretty healthy science production by everybody. Boss outproducing us a little bit. They will then develop the rifleman. Upgrade 1, go up to 13 strength. Grab the Republic at this time. Okay, I can go for it. And then with Napoleon in hand, I mean at the moment I even have 4 military actions, which is perfectly fine. I will lose 1 from the open borders, but I will, with Napoleon, stay at 3 MAs, which is fine. I mean, I don't even have a war at the moment. If I had a war, maybe would have needed to plan differently, but yeah, I still agree with this play. There's so much science. Everybody wants these governments, especially Boars. I guess Hercules and Shadow Knight maybe not that much, but it's always a risk not to take the governments when they are there, especially because the Conmons can easily be denied if you have a lot of science and really want them. Now I can take the urban growth and sampling method. Sure, maybe more science, but what I really need is food. And we get an even better tactic for Napoleon. If we get one of the cannons, and there's still 3 copies of them, we could go for Napoleonic army. Arms industry is also a great thing to push right now. Uncertain borders, I am the strongest, that's great for me. So going for the rifleman has paid off. We get the extra yellow cube. That actually also really helps a lot with the next food, since we produce 1 more now. So that actually is very, very impactful that we have 1 more yellow cube. Boss will go upgrade his last iron, build 1 stage of the Magi, grab the cannons. I mean, he's still looking good, but as long as he doesn't have the Conmon, he's underperforming, definitely. If he gets the Conmon, all of a sudden his position would look a lot better, but if he only has the science in the bank and not in the form of the Conmon, then his turns are pretty underwhelming with only 4 civil actions, so he definitely needs that ASAP. Hercules opens the wealthy territory and is able to win it for just warrior and a card thanks to his 3 colonization. Means he can upgrade more of his coals, or 1 coal, 2 irrigations, cannon in his hand, develop the swordsman, and a rich land. So he's looking good. I mean, he's looked good this whole time, but now he's looking even better with this upgraded production of coal. Really early on, like sometimes you see coal being late at the end of H2 or beginning of H3, but this early on it's just a lot better than the ions, it seems, because most of the iron were pretty late, and I always feel like early iron is a lot better than late coal, but late iron is definitely not better than early coal. So he's looking at a very, very healthy civilization. So yeah, good for him. Shadow Knight now will push. We get the National Pride. Boss actually has more culture than me because of yeah, the +3 from Genghis Khan. It was also pretty close. He had 46 and I had 41, so yeah, rather close. Now Shadow Knight will go for Cavalryman. Upgrades 1 iron, increases pop. Goes for the Cavalryman, can build one for just 2 rocks, so that's a great use. Number 1 of Maria Theresa. And yeah, he used her population increase as well, so 1 extra science, 1 extra culture, grabs the organized religion, which yeah is a good pickup. He has a lot of food, but no real happy face solution yet. He has 1 religion, so if he just upgrades that to the organized, his food will be looking pretty good. And I'm still the strongest. I push. We get the politics of strength. That's pretty good. We get a war from this. War for territory. That could be great. But first I get the selective breeding, which I have the exact science for. So I can develop that. Upgrade 1. Grab the reserves. And a patriotism. Yeah, I want more rocks. We get the reserves. We get the patriotism. So food is fixed. Rocks are looking fine. Science is okay. I could still go for scientific method. I think the biggest news is probably this war in hand. If there's a target, I could go for Napoleon, reveal the tactic, go for 1 more rifleman. For example, against Hercules right now, that could be a good timing, even though he has a lot of cards in hand. With the wave, reserves, and everything, could muster a good defense. Shadow Knight, yeah, he also has a lot of potential. Boss will have the Himeji soon. So yeah, the war has potential. But it's not like there are some easy targets where it's just a clean war with no worries. Let's see, Boss will go for Robespierre, really? Okay, I mean, is it one of the last leaders? There's Cook, who isn't really good for him. He could have gone for Darwin. I feel like, because he has so much science. Is Cornwall really what he wants here? Like, Cornwall only saves him 6 science, and he will lose all of his military actions. So with 14 science still in the bank, I kind of disagree with this. I would have preferred the Cornwall in the normal way, and then go for Charles Darwin. Even if it's just, I mean, we don't know how his cards are looking. Maybe he already has the defensive army in hand. But even then, more card war is always good, gives you more information. And this only, like Robespierre and Cornwall only saves 6 science, that's 1 production. And he's going to be sitting at 20 science next turn. Of course, he will finish the Cornwall and grab organized religion. Hercules opens the historic territory, is able to win it for 2 warriors, 2 swordsmen even. And there's the last copy of cannon. Shadow Knight doesn't have it yet, so it looks like I won't be getting the cannon for the Napoleonic army. But at least I have the classic army, so yeah, not the biggest deal after all. Hercules will increase pop twice. Goes for a cannon. Ooh, builds 2 cannons. This makes the war pretty hard, especially because he is signaling the fortifications. He has 9 rocks, so he can't go for 2 more cannons. So there could still be an option for war. We'll see if I will take that opportunity. But first we get Shadow Knight and Boss going for the international trade agreement. Shadow Knight gets extra rocks, Boss extra food. Shadow Knight then will go for the organized religion. Efficient upgrade. Does he take cannon? No, no cannon for him. Alright, that opens up some possibilities. Since now I could go for the cannon. I don't have the science for it, so maybe it's not even going to be important for me. Let's see what I do. I'm no longer the strongest. I could still push, like arms industry is looking good, or freedom of movement. or war, and I do go for the war over territory, so there is the danger of Hercules having fortifications, but even if he has fortifications, he can only build one more cannon and not two, so fortifications gives him +5, so then he's at 14, and then if he builds another cannon, he's at 17 or something like that. Let's see what I have here first. So we have the patriotism, we get the rifleman, we get the classic army, I hope. Yeah, 22, so it would be hard for Hercules to beat this. Maybe there are some events that would help him. If he gets a couple of extra rocks. But even then, I feel like this is still a good opportunity to use the war with Napoleon. The others, and wars with Magic Castle, I mean, they still could have gone against him. But if he has a cannon and the defensive army, that would be a big problem. And then Shadow Knight is just sitting on too many rocks. Potentially has hussars or something, could go for 2 more cavalrymen. So yeah, just testing out this war. This does mean I have to reveal my classic army quite early, but I can still transition into Napoleonic army as well. And I mean, no one is really, I guess Shadow Knight maybe wants to copy my classic army, but besides that, no one is really ready to immediately copy it and get a big boost from it. I get a little bit of extra science, revolutionary idea, breakthrough, and I actually even decide to go for 1 extra rifleman. I mean, makes transitioning into Napoleonic army a little bit harder, but might give me an extra yellow cube, so that's good. This, on the other hand, is not good. Boars will give 4 extra strength to Hercules with the promise of military protection. We will then go for cannon, destroyer warrior. So this looks like defensive army. Grabs cavalryman and rifleman, as well as the selective breeding. Develops 1 tech and 2 tech. Yeah, just grabbing a couple of cards, developing them, and he will reveal his defensive army. So 17 strength for him now. Hercules, does he even have the fortifications? We will find out in age 3. Hercules increases population. Okay, he builds a swordsman. That looks like it means no fortifications for him. No fortifications for him, so he's staying at 16 strength. So that means the war is successful, and another war will come immediately afterwards. Shadow Knight versus Hercules. Shadow Knight goes for air forces. Increased population gives him exactly the science he needs for an air force. Can build one, and then hussars. Yeah, hussars, 26 strength from him. And Hercules can copy the defensive army next turn. Ooh. Is Shadow Knight sure that he can win this? I mean, sure, Hercules will have to destroy things, which will be very, very, yeah, bad for him, because it's beginning of age 3. If he now has to destroy 2 alchemies to build 2 swordsmen, that is a big problem. But he could definitely win this war, I think, if he builds... okay, he only has 4 military actions, so if he copies the defensive army, he can't build 2 swordsmen. So maybe Shadow Knight made or did all the math. So we will find out during Hercules' turn. But first, I win the war versus Hercules. 2 extra yellow cubes for me. I push, we get the prosperity, so that's some extra food for all of us. Computers from me. We have some early computers here. We have computer leaders. I see Marie Curie. We have Sid Meier, Steve Jobs. That's about it for computer leaders. But this early on, these computers are very strong. I've only had a little bit more rock production, but I'm still one of the strongest. So I don't think I should be afraid and not invest my rocks into computers. Then I do take Marie Curie as well. I elect her. Costing me 1 military action, that is the biggest problem at the moment. But she does give me 3 extra culture and the extra strength as well, +3. I mean, basically the same that Napoleon gave me, but also +1 science. I guess I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should have elected her right now. Maybe could have just waited, grabbed something else instead. Yeah, I mean, the +3 culture is nice. But losing the 1 military action is not. Let's see, Boss here. What can he do? Second Air Force coming out, so that is not that great for me. But we get the Ravagers of Time. Everybody has the choice of 2 wonders to destroy. Boss will destroy the Hanging Gardens, so he really needs Happy Faces, but he has the Organized Religion in store for that. Of course, he grabbed the Air Force and an Opera here in his hand now as well. Hercules has to respond to the second war, get scientific cooperation with Boss, so these two guys having 2 pacts with each other. He will then grab tanks. Ooh, does he have an H3 tactic? Destroys Aurora and a lab. It's 1-2 tanks and reveals. Ooh. So yeah, the war was dangerous. Not in the way I thought with copying a tactic, but he did have his own tactic, the mobile artillery, so he's going up to 34 strength. That means Shadow Knight will lose his strategy. That hurts, or maybe something else, maybe the Code of Laws instead, whatever Hercules wants. And Hercules did have to destroy a lab for this, but he gets back the science, so... but Hercules is not looking that strong anymore. He didn't get any chance to really use Bach, so he went for the early drama, or he grabbed it early on, he developed it early on, he went for Bach, but not a single drama build, so Bach is only giving +2 culture. Just had to destroy his alchemy. His rocks are still looking solid, but he's at 3 culture production and 31 in the bank. That is quite far behind some of us. So he's not looking that strong anymore. Shadow Knight also not looking that strong anymore now with losing this war. So these two guys kinda destroying each other's position a little bit with this war. Losing 2 science and the Code of Laws. Shadow Knight gets Crime Wave. I'm actually one of the weakest now, so I lose 3 culture and a blue cube. Shadow Knight gets the Revolutionary Idea. Upgrades 1 more. Organized Religion goes for another Cavalryman. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not out, Hercules and Shadow Knight. Shadow Knight with the Hussars and the Air Force is still looking very strong, 29 strength now. Me and Boss should start to worry about that a little bit. But first we got the popularization of science, so 9 extra for me, that's quite good. Then we get the pro sports because I destroyed the destroyed the Stonehenge with the Ravagers of Time, and then I go for pro sports. Can develop that and build 1, so 28 strength. That helps. Increase population again. We get a patriotism. I could have also grabbed the Revolutionary Idea, but I still have 1 in my hand. Patriotism, yeah, what I said before, right? I need, military actions as well, and the extra rocks to go for more military. So I felt like patriotism was more important than the Revolutionary Idea. So only 1 card where we still have the Ember of Progress, so at least I had good card in the beginning. Okay, we get Economic Progress. Yeah, pretty equal, besides Hercules gets a lot of extra rocks. The rest is pretty equal. Hercules now sitting on 19 rocks. I did say I didn't like his position as much anymore. He still has some problems. He's only 2 science production, 8 science in the bank. He still has, he doesn't need a new government form necessarily, and he does have the science pact, so he could just go for a couple of journalisms. But then the problem is he doesn't have happy faces, so I still see some big problems, but he also has a lot of potential with the 19 rocks. But let's first see what Boss will do. He could go for democracy. No, he goes for air forces instead. He's worried, goes up to 28 strength. Rifleman, Revolutionary Idea. Upgrade 1, Rifleman. Still the weakest, but using his military action sufficiently. Maybe even has a good tactic. With the setup, there is the positional army that would be a huge boost to his military with the Air Force especially. So everybody pretty equal with the strength. 34, 29, 30, 29. Very close game overall. Hercules will increase pop now after deciding not to push. Goes for movies. Okay, he still wants the culture route, builds 1 movies, 8 culture production, and 13 production. 0 science production from him now. I am not sure this is the way, going down to 0 science production. The fun thing is that Boss won't be able to research anything unless he decides to cancel the Scientific Cooperation Pact. Because if you have that pact and your opponent or your partner doesn't have any science, you can't research anything. So interesting move by him. And 13 production now, which does put him at the most production, yeah. But he's still behind me and Boss quite a bit. And impacts really suffer from this early skipping on any science. So definitely interesting. I mean, he has still the rocks, he could go for wonders and maybe more movies. But first we get the Independence Declaration, but Boss does not have any colonies, so he's not losing anything. Shadow Knight will increase pop, he gets the tanks. He still wants more military. I mean, look at his actions, of course, he wants more military. He has no civil actions, so that makes it hard to go for culture. We'll go for those tanks. 42 strength now. Enough rocks in the bank to go for another air force. Maybe upgrade those cavalrymen if he gets a war. And then my turn, I could play the Input of Progress. There is the military theory that we're probably going to get freedom of movement first here. I decide to rebuild a agriculture into riflemen. So we are soon going to have 2 armies of the classic army. Looks like that is what we're going to go for. Military theory here gives me the much needed military actions. Increase population, go for a knight, so we are actually the strongest now, and then military buildup and engineering genius. Yeah, now I have rocks in the bank, so I don't think anybody is really eyeing me as the biggest target of a war. I have the most strength at the moment. I have military buildup and patriotism in hand, and 11 rocks in the bank, so yeah. I am feeling rather confident. Then we have, indeed, Boss has to cancel the pact with Derculus. Get Andela grabbed by Boss. Elects him immediately. Grabs the military theory as well. And with the revolutionary idea, he will be able to go for that. 34 strength from him. And then another temple. Rockets in his hand too. How are the wonders looking? Only the fast food chains are gone. We have Red Cross, Spaceflight, United Nations, and Manhattan Project. I mean, the military is looking really like a stalemate. I'm not sure. Maybe it's gonna explode at some point, and Shadow Knight is probably the one who has the most potential to go for war. And the target would probably be Derculus. But he has so many rocks. I mean, yeah, he just invested a lot of them into the movies. So I just don't see another target for Shadow Knight, and I don't see another way for Shadow Knight to win besides going for military. Boss is also a target. I have the information that he doesn't have a positional army because that's in my hand. That makes his military a lot weaker in my eye, but Shadow Knight doesn't know that. But yeah, Boss is probably the target, even though he does have the Meiji Castle that helps against wars quite a bit. But he has not that many rocks, no extra yellow cards in his hand at all. So he might be the target of a war by Shadow Knight. Douglas gets the last air force, so we will be the one without. Douglas grabs the spaceflight, which is interesting, with 0 science production. I guess it's big enough for him already. And he also built another movies from scratch. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, he used the freedom of movement to put swordsmen into movies. 18 culture production now. I mean, that is a lot of culture production. Is it going to be enough for him to catch up to us? He definitely outproduces all of us by quite a bit. Me definitely more than Boss. I don't know if this wonder... I guess it's going to be okay. He has quite a bit of H3 tax, so it might be fine. He starts building on it immediately. Maybe his plan is to go for 2 wonders. Like just invest into movies and wonders. And then get 2 of those. Shadow Knight doesn't go for war this turn. We get the Cold War, so extra science from me and Shadow Knight. Shadow Knight grabs fundamentalism. Upgrades production a little bit. Rather late to upgrade production, but I guess. And then he goes for more tanks. 51 strength from him. Yeah, he has no other way. He needs the military. He is not in position. He has... I guess he could have gone for movies now, but is he really going to catch up? Probably not. So this is probably the right call from him. I offer the international tourism to Shadow Knight, so both of us get a little bit of extra culture production. The engineering is great here. We have the impact of progress in the deck. Also helps with the computer, and of course now with the wonder, so we get the Manhattan project, can finish it more easily with the engineering. Quite a lot of yellow cards that I miss out on here. I mean, one problem, I have 48 strength, so I'm one of the strongest, but my potential is a little bit limited by my population. Like, I don't have air forces, so I felt like without air forces I need something else to keep up in military. Like, imagine we have a couple of more turns, maybe 2 or something. Shadow Knight can go for 2 air forces, that's 10 strength each, so 71 strength from him. I would have to destroy a lot of buildings to build another army, and no other way to do it. So I think this Manhattan project, which will also give a lot of culture thanks to the 13 science production. So yeah, maybe that's the right call. Only sucks a little bit that we miss out on all the yellow cards, but that's how it is sometimes. But wonders should be okay for me, I think. Boss will go for war. Okay, Boss not fine with being called a target. He wants to be the aggressor. But how? Does he... Oh, does he have the modern army? That one is great. 38 and then all of a sudden 52. I mean, not that much. Can Hercules respond? We will see, we will see. But if he pulls this off, Boss is looking at a very strong position. I mean, he's still outproducing me in culture, but not by much. Not by much. Very close, but he has a small lead. I have a wonder, he doesn't. But if he now gets bounty culture from this war, he might take off. But if Hercules loses this war, I think he's out for. I mean, before this, he was behind, but he had potential to still fight for first place. If he loses this war, probably not. Let's see how he can respond. Oh, he builds the wonder. Okay, destroys a farm, destroys a mine, 2 cannons. That's 44. And not more for him. He goes for Gandhi. Yeah. So, I mean, he had the air forces, but not enough science, obviously, to go for them. Yeah, it was really a tough spot for him. He was behind quite a bit in culture. He decided to go for the movies that opened up this war because he couldn't use the rocks for military. So, yeah, very tough position for him at the beginning of H3. Shadow Knight now goes for multimedia. Yeah, Shadow Knight is also looking really, really wounded now with this, how this turned out. Boss investing everything into military, showing his tactic means Shadow Knight can't go for war against Boss. Hercules having Gandhi now also means Shadow Knight can't go for war against Gandhi or Hercules. And Shadow Knight also can't really go for war against me because I have the Manhattan project. So Shadow Knight's only option was to go for military. He played accordingly up to this point, but now all of a sudden not a single opponent is left that he can really war. So he has to transition into multimedias. And then, I guess, hope to not come in last. He's not going to fight for first place. Maybe for third instead. Autonomous territory. Shadow Knight will win this one for 2 warriors. That's pretty cheap. And he will probably take the culture then. No, he takes the food instead. Okay, that could mean there's a bit of population. I take the civil service. We have a very good impact of progress, by the way. The satellites are still in as well. Sadly, I don't think I will get them. That would make it almost perfect. I grab the efficient upgrade. Mechanized agriculture. Reserves. So yeah, just loading up on cards. Maybe next time I can build even one more computer for the Manhattan project. We start into H4. Maria Theresa is gone. A couple of cards discarded. Boss will win this war. Does he sacrifice a unit? Yes, he did sacrifice something. A swordsman. Didn't need that. 15 culture stolen. And another war. He has enough. He has enough MAs to go for another war on Hercules. It's another air force. Satellites as well, 58. Ooh. Yeah, this second war, that might be the winning play for Boss here. Especially with that satellites, there is a bit of progress in, so that is double as good. He doesn't get a wonder, but he will get another war in Hercules with some rocks, but probably can't defend this. So well played, boss. 2 wars probably too much to fight against. Hercules here will get 14 rocks, finish the space for 18. I mean, that's okay for the wonder. So even though he has not produced any science in quite some time, can build 1 cannon, so 47. Yeah, great war by boss here. Shadow Knight now will reveal the vast territory. I will take it for just a knight. Shadow Knight will build another multimedia and a religion. Get full happy faces. Pro sports, but can't develop it. And then for my last turn, I have Import of Agriculture in hand. So my only real opponent, I guess, is going to be boss. The other 2 are too far behind. So it is good that I have the Import of Agriculture. I can win that against boss, who doesn't produce extra food. So that's great. So I will push it. We get the Import of Harmony. 8, 24, 16. 16 only, and 16. I guess I didn't have enough, yeah, sadly I didn't have enough urban buildings. But in project here, plus 13, I have, right, there's still the Red Cross. We have reserves in hand, so I can use that reserve for food. We get 3 steps of the Red Cross, can develop a tech, can even upgrade here. That's good for the Import of Agriculture. I have enough to defend if boss goes for an aggression. And he has reserves as well, so he can steal 1 stage of the Red Cross, but it's still great for me. I got 18 culture here, boss only gets 6, so that's plus 12 for me. But the biggest problem is going to be this war outcome, plus 21 for boss. He will push an impact as well. We get Import of Government, 18, 16, 23, that's a big government, and then 21, also big government. Oil from boss, so Import of, yeah, probably gonna be impact of industry. You will increase population instead of building 1 stage. That's very interesting. So that tells us he has, I mean, how many happy faces did he have before? I mean, he does produce extra with Mandela. And that probably means he has Import of Happiness in there as well. Him deciding not to use the food on the Red Cross means he really wanted that population in the religion a lot more. So let's find out what the impacts at the end are. We get 6 of them, so exciting. We get Agriculture 3 to 12. I get pretty close to boss. I think, yeah, here in the bottom, it should stay this way as well. Maybe I have a chance to come in first, but no chance for Shadow Knight to overtake me. And I think Hercules doesn't have the best impacts with no science and all. So focus on me and boss. I gain another 2 on him with the Import of Wonders. Progress 16 to 22. We almost have 1 culture left between us. Variety 16 to 16, still 1 culture between us. Happiness 16 to 10. Okay, I didn't have that many happy faces. And the last one, industry, yeah, 9 to 6. So yeah, congrats boss. That was rather close, only 10 culture between us. So congrats boss. Yeah, the 2 wars. 2 wars was too much. He played that really well. Also putting Hercules in a position. Hercules still wanted to finish the space flight to have a chance of not coming in last, but have a chance against Shadow Knight and not putting everything into military. I guess I didn't draw a war and I didn't really have the military actions to go for a war against Hercules. Yeah, good opportunity seized by boss with a very slim military, getting still 2 big wars. Also with that Himeji Castle. Yeah, Hercules had a good start, but it fell apart at some point. And he had a very rough decision to make at the beginning of H3. He decided to go for the movies, but that didn't give him the rocks to defend. Also going down to 0 science is quite problematic, as we saw here with the impacts and before not being able to go for air forces and all. It still could have worked. could have definitely worked if there was no war, if he had a little bit more time to produce more culture with these movies. So maybe he did the best he could out of a bad position. And then Shadow Knight, yeah, really tough place. He put everything into military. He had very solid rock and food thanks to his Machu, and then just wanted to spare military. But when the time was coming for wars, there really was no target left for him. He couldn't go against Hercules, and then me and Boss were just too safe behind our militaries. So yeah, congrats to Boss, but I had a lot of fun in this game, and I guess I have to be happy. Second place is still good, and I gave Boss a run for his money, and I hope I provided you guys with an exciting game. So I hope you enjoyed it, and see you for the next one as well.